Congressman Vic Fazio, who represented the Sacramento area in Washington for 20 years, has died at the age of 79, and tonight he's being remembered as a champion for the region.
KCRA 3's Melanie Wingo has reflections on his life and career from those who knew him well.
Vic Fazio being remembered by those who knew him well.
I worked with him a lot when I was in the state Senate and he was in Congress. We worked on a lot of water issues that were important to agriculture.
Congressman Mike Thompson sharing with KCRA 3 about the moment he and other members of Congress heard of Fazio's passing.
Right away, all of our California delegation was collected together, and we were all lamenting the fact that that he passed. We were all grateful that we knew him.
Held in high regard, Fazio's legacy as a leader and lawmaker.
He was just an incredible human being. He was a fantastic legislator, and I emphasize legislator because there's a real shortage of those in today's world.
Former KCRA 3 political reporter Steve Swat reflecting on Fazio's work, first in the state assembly and then when he was elected in 1978 to serve in Congress.
I mean, he was a true blue Democrat, but he had a bipartisan streak, and he crossed the aisle to work with Republicans all the time to get legislation passed, and much of that legislation helped the greater Sacramento area, which he represented.
Case in point, Swat says Fazio's work to establish the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Refuge.
That sign on the Yolo Causeway is an example of what Vic Fazio accomplished in his years in Congress, because he was able to deliver legislation and programs to the greater Sacramento area.
I'd like to say a word of appreciation to Vic Fazio.
Former KCRA 3 political reporter Kevin Riggs also remembers covering Fazio's time representing California in Congress.
He was one of those homegrown Sacramento politicians who never really lost touch with his roots.
And Fazio's rise to leadership while there.
Fazio was really a rising star in Washington in the 1990s. He was on track to become House Speaker. At one point, he rose to third in party hierarchy in the House as the caucus chair.
When Fazio decided not to seek re-election in 1998,
I will not seek another term in Congress.
His career was one that ended, according to those reflecting on it, in a way that's different from much of how politics plays out these days.
He had a lot of good relationships with people across the aisle, with Republicans. And so he was able to work in a much more bipartisan fashion in Washington back when it wasn't as partisan and as polarized as it is today.
Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
And tonight, Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg also reacting to the congressman's passing. On Twitter, the mayor posting, quote, "If all politicians led like Vic Fazio, politics would be the honored profession that it should be. Vic was an accomplished problem solver. He was fearless, powerful, approachable, and decent. We have lost a giant."